Economics is the first paper of the JAV. Now we are going to discuss Unit 5 of Module A in Indian Economy. The unit name is Infrastructure, including Social Infrastructure. What are the objectives we are going to discuss in this chapter? Infrastructure and economic development, energy, power, transport system, concept of social sector and social infrastructure, health, education, family welfare, development of health infrastructure. Let us discuss the topic. National Investment and Infrastructure Fund. What is NIIF? National Infrastructure and Investment Fund. It was introduced by Government of India. The purpose of introduction of NIIF is to improve infrastructure finance in the country. Infrastructure and economic development. For economic growth, infrastructure is the foundation which encompasses the physical, natural, organizational structures required for long-term economic development. Next, economic infrastructure facilitate. What economic infrastructure will facilitate? Labor, capital mobility between the economics. It facilitates the circulation of commodities and raw materials, eliminating inefficiencies and resulting in the effective use of scarce resources. Infrastructure also includes roads, ports, airports, bridges, railways, water supply, sewage, power, telecommunications, irrigation, and many more. Infrastructure can be either hard or soft. So we are now going to discuss what is the difference between hard infrastructure and soft infrastructure. What is hard infrastructure? It refers to the physical networks such as road, ports, airports, pipelines. These are come under hard infrastructure. What is a soft infrastructure? To keep the economy running, like financial, educational, healthcare, or law enforcement organizations. It is also segregated as physical and social infrastructure. Physical infrastructure is nothing but roads, ports, airports, which is called as come under hard infrastructure, and financial, educational, healthcare, which are coming under the social soft infrastructure. Next, energy, power, transport system, which are rail, road, civil aviation. Now first discuss energy infrastructure. It is nothing but large scale energy transmission from produce to consumer. Next, some energy infrastructure are national gas pipelines, storage, distribution, petroleum pipelines, specialized coal handling facilities for washing, storing and transporting coal, renewable energy infrastructure such as wind power, solar power, hydropower, geothermal power and biomass or biofuel facilities. Next, renewable energy. What are the Indian institutes of renewable energy? Here, excluding large hydro, India have to achieve 92.54 gigawatts out of 5.47 was added in the period April 2020. Here, the installed RE capacity, means renewable energy capacity, has increased by 2.5 times, and in the same period, the installed solar energy capacity has increased to 15 times. The RE capacity has increased by 2.5 times, and the solar energy capacity increased by 15 times. Globally, India stands fourth in renewable energy power capacity. In power capacity, India's rank is fourth, and in wind power also it is fourth, but in solar power capacity it is fifth. Just remember these ranks. India has one of the highest rate of growth for renewable energy in India. As per Global Trends in Renewable Energy Investment in 2020 report, renewable energy attracted an investment of 64.2 billion. Next, water management infrastructure. It includes drinking water supply, wastewater collection, disposal, drainage systems, major irrigation systems. Untreated sewage waste is one of the major causes of surface water. What is the major cause of surface water and groundwater pollution? It is untreated sewage waste. So, water management is most important here. What is the first legislative measure taken directly to address the issue of water pollution? It is Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 is the first legislative measure to address the issue of water pollution and conservation in the country. Next, communications infrastructure. Here it includes postal services, telephone networks like mobile phone networks, television, radio broadcast stations, internet, communication satellites. A few of the initiations undertaken for communications infrastructure is, just remember these FDI limits. Here every point is important, so everyone make full concern here. FDI cap in the telecom has been increased to 100% from 74%. It has increased to 74% to 100%. The government approved the production incentive scheme for large scale electronics manufacturing. They may ask what is the FDI cap in telecom sector. We have to answer it is 100%. Next, Department of Telecommunication launched Tarang Sanchar. They ask like who launched Tarang Sanchar. It is Department of Telecommunication or Information Technology or Ministry of Statistics. So they ask in different manner. So we have to who launched Tarang Sanchar. It is Department of Telecommunication, DOT. A web portal sharing information. What is the objective for Tarang Sanchar? Share information on mobile towers and EMF emission compliance. As a government also approved a project of 20,000 crores purpose for creating a NOFN, which is National Optical Fiber Network, provide broadband connectivity of 2.5 lakh gram panchayat for various applications like e-health, e-education, e-governance. Next, critical infrastructure. Assets on which broader economy is dependent referred as critical infrastructure. Here electricity generation, transmission, distribution, water supply and many more comes. These are included in the critical infrastructure category. Just remember these terms: the transportation system, financial services and security services. Next, transport infrastructure. Here transport in the sense the name itself says transports, which is roads, highways like bridges, tunnels, railway system, subways, tramways, bus transportation, railway tracks, railway stations, etc. These are the parts of the transport system. Just read this page once and remember what comes under what. Next, according to a recent report published by Central Pollution Control Board, March 2021, India's current water treatment capacity is 27.3% and sewage treatment capacity is 18.6%. Due to non-uniformity in sewage treatment, waterways, rivers, lakes, ponds, further exacerbating the nitrate levels in the groundwater of surrounding areas. Next, Bharatmala Pariyojana, India's largest infrastructure investment program with more than 100 billion. They may ask what is the investment of Bharatmala Pariyojana. It is more than 100 billion, 150 million. We have to 50 million. We have to answer more than $100 billion represents the most attractive investment opportunity in roads. Government of India is developing various industrial corridor projects as part of National Industrial which is aimed at development of futuristic industrial cities, the best manufacturing and investment destinations. What is Bharatmala Pariyojana? It is used, it's the largest investment which is more than 100 billion. Most attractive. Next, PM Gati Shakti. It is a national master plan for multimodal connectivity who is launched PM Gati Shakti Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the Union Budget 2022-23. It is a digital platform to bring 16 ministers including railways, roadways for integrated planning and coordinated implementation. Multimodal connectivity will provide integrated seamless connectivity for movement of people, goods and services from one mode of transport to another. Here it will facilitate last mile connectivity of infrastructure. Few important points of the project are road transport, multimodal logistic parks, railways, Parvatmala. What is road transport? It is a highways network to be expanded by 25,000 km. 25,000 km in 2022-23. 20,000 crore to be mobilized for National Highways Network expansion. They may ask you the values, so remember how much mobilized for National Highways Network expansion. It is 20,000 crore. Multimodal logistics parks. Contracts to be awarded through PPP mode for implementation of multimodal logistics parks at 4 locations. Railways, one station, one product. One station, one product to help local businesses and supply chains. 2000 kilometers of railway network under Kavach. Indigenous world-class technology in 2022-23. 400 new generation Vande Bharat trains during the next 3 years, manufactured during the next 3 years. 100 PM Gatashakti cargo terminals to be developed during the next 3 years. Next 3 years, 400 new generation Vande Bharat trains and 100 PM Gatashakti cargo terminals. Parvatmala, National Roadways Development Program. Parvatmala to be taken up on PPP mode. Contracts to be awarded in 2020 for 8 ropeway projects of 60 kilometers length. Next, urban infrastructure. It is an integral part of the economic growth. India's towns and cities with less than 1.3 of India's people, its urban areas generate over 2 by 3 of the country's GDP and account for 90% of government revenues. Here, hard infrastructure is nothing but roadways, water distribution, and sewage, referred as urban and municipal infrastructure, whereas soft infrastructure like parks, public pools, and libraries. We have earlier discussed about hard infrastructure and soft infrastructure. Smart Cities Mission. What is Smart Cities Mission? It is an urban renewal program launched by government. What the objective? To develop, upgrade living conditions and infrastructure selected 100 cities all over the country. Objective of the program is to modernize cities by providing core infrastructure, decent quality of life to its citizens. Atal Mission Amrut. Amrut is an important scheme. Atal Mission for rejuvenation and urban transformation with smart cities were jointly planned by the government to transform urban living conditions through infrastructure upgradation. Next, green infrastructure. Green infrastructure highlights the value of nature environment provided by a network of natural ecosystems are emphasized. What are the examples under green infrastructure? Green belts, wildlife sanctuaries, environmentally sensitive areas, tiger, lion, and elephant reserves, bird sanctuaries, and the conservation of the Western Ghats. Next, concepts of social sector and social infrastructure. Investment in human capital including education, skill development, training. These increases productivity and social welfare. For inclusive development, public investments in social infrastructure such as education, health, housing, and connectivity are critical. During the pre-independence era, social sector was neglected, which had a negative impact on the economic production. At the time of independence, its literacy level was barely 17%, with a life expectancy of 32.5% at birth. During the pandemic, government's expenditure on social services increased. Expenditure on health, education, others by states and centers has increased to nearly 9%. ESG, what is the full form? Environment, social, governance. They may ask what is G in ESG? It's governance. Environment, social refers to the 3 most essential factors which determines the long-term and ethical impact of the business or company investments. Majority of socially responsible investors use ESG, environmental, social, and governance, to screen investors. Health, educational, and family welfare. Healthcare is one of the most important industries in terms of income and employment, like hospitals, medical devices, clinical trials, outsourcing, telemedicine, medical tourism, health insurance. These are all part of the health industry. Health in 2021 to 22 economic survey, healthcare sector budgeted spending 4.7 lakh crore in 2021 to 22. Both the government and private entities have increased their investments in the healthcare sector. 2017 National Health Policy aimed to boost government health spending to 2.5% of GDP by 2025. In addition to the National Health Commission, Union Budget announced the Ayushman Bharat Health Abhim AABHIM Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission. The Union Budget announced the Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission. approximately 64,190 crore to implement over the next 5 years to develop the capacities of primary, secondary and tertiary care. Next, education. Constitution 86th Amendment Act 2002 incorporated Article 21A, Indian institution free to provide free and compulsory education to all aged 6 to 14 years as a fundamental right. Education has been increasing at a faster rate. Economic survey, the budgeted spending was 6.97 lakh crore in 2021 to 22. National Education Policy 2022 replaced the 34-year-old National Education Policy 1986. They ask which replaced the National Education Policy 2022. It's National Education Policy 1986. New NEP is built on 4 pillars: accessibility, equity, quality, accountability. Old, they ask this value also, how it is changed. Old 10 plus 2 structure will be replaced by 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 framework that includes 12 years of education and 12 years here 8 and 3 years of Anganwadi and preschool. Family welfare. Primary goal of family welfare is to stabilize the population and offer high quality health services. Immunization. In 1952, India became the first country in the world to implement a national program for family planning. What are the fundamental premises of family welfare program? Acceptance of family welfare services is voluntary. Family welfare program will provide integrated maternal and child health, family planning services, effective information, education and communication, easy and convenient access to family welfare services free of cost. Population management is the core and fundamental goal of the family program. Next, this is the last concept we are going to discuss in this chapter, that is development of health infrastructure, which is PM-ABIM, Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission, used to improve primary, secondary, tertiary healthcare centers by establishing new institutions to address the diagnosis and treatment of new and emerging illness. It has evolved to be the biggest, largest pan-India public health infrastructure initiative. What is the largest pan-India public health infrastructure? It's PM-ABIM since 2005. ABDM, Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, formerly known as National Digital Health Mission. It was launched in 2021 with the purpose of establishing the backbone built to support the country's integrated digital health infrastructure. Announced the Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission, a new centrally sponsored scheme with an outlay of approximately 64,180 crore over the next 5 years to develop capacities of primary, secondary, tertiary. Next, existing national institutions and set up new institute to cater the detection and cure of the new emerging diseases. So, when it is introduced to 2021 for supporting the country's integrated digital health infrastructure, it has 24,180 crore for the next 5 years. Okay, we have done with this chapter. Hope everyone understands this. Keep learning.